Hello, my name is Nomveliso. I'm a teen coach, meaning I coach and mentor teenagers in self-development, self-awareness, leadership development, as well as them understanding the value of academic excellence. And I've been in youth development for the past 20 years, yes. And for the first time, about 2 years ago, I decided to open a business that focuses mainly on teen development. And that's when I kind of realized that starting a business is also a personal development experience on its own. One of the major challenges that I had was that I couldn't understand why I was not making a lot of money. Also, I couldn't understand why I couldn't find clarity in terms of what I wanted to focus on. And also, I knew that I had a passion for the work that I do, but for some reason, there was a disconnect between my passion, my actions, and everything else that I wanted to achieve. Also, I realized that, and I've always known that I kind of self-sabotage myself quite a lot. And I was stuck because I didn't know how to get out of that zone. I didn't know how to break away from the self sabotage. I was aware that I was doing it, and I was aware of its root cause, and I was aware of the narrative that made me self-sabotage, but I was really stuck in terms of knowing how to change those patterns. My experience with Vangi, like, started with the book, the Wealth Money book, and it spoke about emotions and understanding our emotions as far as money is concerned. And for me personally, it was my first breakthrough, because then I realized that each time I felt in a certain way, chances are I would decide in certain ways as far as money is concerned. And one of the biggest feelings around money for me that I discovered from the book was that I was anxious around receiving money. I was anxious around keeping money, and I was anxious around accumulating wealth in a way, purely because in my family we had a trauma experience where my dad went bankrupt, so to speak, or we lost the money, of the family money that we all had, and we had to almost start from the beginning. The trauma in that sense was that we're still teenagers at that stage, and moving from having a lot of our needs taken care of to none kind of created a huge trauma for me, in terms of me realizing or thinking that because of that experience, money is not my friend, money hates me and wants to destroy me as well. So without me knowing, I was intentionally running away from having money because I was scared of losing it. And I was scared of being destroyed by money because of what I've seen in my own family. So for me, that was the first part. I had to get into that story. I had to create this, not create, but to understand that story and its narrative and how I've been living that story. And at the same time, I had to come to a realization that it's not my story. Yes, it's my family story, but it's not my personal story, and that I can pull lessons from it and choose differently. But it was also important for me, which I've learned from the e-course, the meditation, and realizing that I can move through the emotions and create a better action points for me to live a life that's functional. And I must admit, when I first saw the e-course content, I was really not so keen on it, in the sense that I knew it was going to require a lot of work from me. I knew it was going to require me to actually just sit down with myself and do a lot of the inner work that I've been avoiding to do. But also, I kind of got into a story where I said to myself, I'm really busy. I won't have time for this. I'm really busy. So for about 2 weeks, I didn't touch the material. And I kind of said, no, I'm busy. That's just it, in the busy. But then I realized that in my being busy, I was hitting a lot of blocks, a lot of delays just in my own business and moving forward. And I realized that the being busy script that I've been feeding myself is not helping me, that I need to find a way to just sit down and do the work that I need to do. So I went into the e-course. I did the first part of the e-course, the meditation. I found that the exercises were easy for me to understand, but I found the audio clips and the video clips quite much more exciting, because I could listen and I could work along with the meditation, with their voices, and also I could pause and think about things or write things down. So for me, that helped quite a lot. And one of the things that I was struggling with in terms of the self-sabotage was that I could get a client, but I would delay in invoicing, I would delay in sending information until I lose that client, and then it would prove to me that I'm not making money, that I'm not. And in actual fact, I was the one who was creating all of these delays. So one of the breakthroughs that I'd had was that I realized that I need to move and act beyond what I might be feeling, and that also the meditation taught me to acknowledge my feelings, to acknowledge the story, but also to question if the story that I'm feeding myself is a correct one, to question the belief that I've held for such a long time, so that I move beyond being stuck in a particular information. The course also helped me to gain clarity with regards to my offers, what I want to offer to my teenagers, what I want them to learn, what I want them to gain from me, and also how I should be presenting that material to them, the person that I am right now, and whether I'm assisting them in terms of the growth that I want them to experience as well. So it was useful and helpful for me to go through the course so that I have more clarity in terms of. I also want to add more about the meditation, because for me that was another big breakthrough. I'm not the kind of person that sits still much. I'm kind of a thing on the go kind of a person, and I have my own weird way of doing things. So the course, the meditation and the notes in the meditation kind of helped me to realize I'm not as weird as I thought I was in terms of my spiritual lifestyle. So it was really, really validating for me to experience the language and the tone that Vangile uses in the meditations, but also it gave me more structure in terms of more things that I could learn to do when I meditate, and also how to just manage my thought processes and my body image, my body positioning and everything around meditation. And I gained a lot of beautiful insights, especially around my interaction with money, which kind of made me realize that everything is still going to be a work in progress, and that I'm still going to continue to do the course, because that's the thing with Vangile's book and the e-course, is that you can never say it's enough, and you can never say I've read the chapter and then it's done, because a whole lot of the things come up again, and you have to go back and review and recheck and then redefine things for yourself. So I would say that both the book and the e-course is an experience, almost like a lifetime experience, because at some point in your life you would want to go back to it and review things. So I'm comfortable with breakthroughs I'm getting. I have more clarity in terms of where I want my business to go. I have more clarity in terms of the content of what I'm offering. I have more clarity in terms of my spiritual life at the moment and how to manage my emotions around money. I have more clarity in terms of my financial goals. I've built financial goals now, and I'm no longer procrastinating as I used to be. Still work in progress, but I'm happy that I'm not running away anymore. Yes, that's important. I'm not running away from dealing with my internal issues around money, and I'm not running away anymore from facing myself and doing the work that I need to do for me to be a better person. So thank you, Vangile, for this course. Each day I wake up and say, oh, wow, did that happen? And I wake up and think, you know what, I'm going to do well, I'm going to be okay, and I'm going to grow, and I'm going to gain the kind of financial breakthrough that I want. So yeah, that's me. The last point that I want to make is that the meditation meditations in terms of the worksheets, because the e-course has different lessons in it, and each lesson has its own meditation, its own I would say its own way of doing things that links to the lesson, and I found it quite difficult to move on to the next lesson without doing the meditations to its completion. And by that I mean that as much as I would listen to the meditation and do it to the end, but if there was nothing finalized in my spirit in terms of the things I need to get out of the meditation, or the lessons I need to get out that I wasn't grasping as yet, there was a part where I had to literally wait until I'm settled fully before moving on to the next e-course, to the next lesson. So that was quite amazing, I must say, because when we're doing these courses, it's so common to just do them for the sake of doing them, or for the sake of completing them. And I found it was quite difficult to move on for the sake of moving on. You almost move on when you are settled and fully grasping of the message in that particular worksheet or lesson. And the other part is, I mentioned this to Vangile, there's a different worksheets in the different lessons, and there's one that talks about your family life, your personal relationships, your home, and where you are and where you see yourself. And I realized that for the first time I was thinking about me as a person in terms of some of the decisions that I have done, that I have not done pertaining to my family life, as in my own, not my parents and my siblings, but my own type of family life. And for the first time I realized that I have been neglecting myself in that regard, and that I needed to make different decisions. And I remember I closed that worksheet without completing anything because I was overwhelmed by the emotions of it all, of how much I've been neglecting my own self. And I couldn't move on for a couple of days. And then after 3 or 4 days, I went back to it and I said, you know what, this is where I am. My shortcomings, I have to face myself so that I can be a better person. And I went back to the form, filled it in, acknowledge my shortcomings, acknowledge where I didn't honor myself, and made the right goals in terms of how I'm going to honor myself in future. So I value that each worksheet was able to push me to the next level, and I value that each lesson has a different meditation that speaks to a different part of you. And then also, let me say this lastly, there's a language around spirit guides and angels. At first, when I heard the spirit guides, I was like, woo, creepy, 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 creepy. And then I realized, oh wait, I can identify with angels, and I understand the language around angels, and I was able to then move on and realize that actually we can easily be so scared of what we don't know, and yet there's probably a way that we've been doing a certain thing, but that we didn't call it in a particular way. So I value the lessons that I got from this workshop in that sense. So Vangile, thank you so much for this experience. It's not done because I still have to work through a whole lot of things, but I value that now I've got a structure, I've got a plan, I've got a way of doing things, I have something to go back to. I hope that the e-course will allow people to stay on it for a longer period so that they can go back to it each time that they want to. So thank you very much, Vangile. Bye.